Hello, Suguru. I'm doing good. Hope you've been well as well. Yeah. Hello, human. Nice. Sparksy Yao Guang. Yup. Wait, that wasn't. Oh shit. Oh fuck. I need to do one more. Ooh. Feeling better? Oh yeah, it's completely gone from yesterday. I think that's legit. Okay, I won't say it's the only time because I have pretty bad memory. It's possible it happened once or twice before. But that's probably the first time I've gotten food poisoning in like at least a decade. Like I forgot how it felt. That shit hurt. Well, it didn't exactly hurt, but it wasn't comfortable for sure. There we go. Hello. A heel. A heil. Probably butchering it. I should have maxed this out. Never mind. Use a supply. Well, bam. And now I'm UL 56. 4 away from being able to max out my cart. Is there anything? No, these guys are just fighting a fight. Okay. Are you pulling for Ameth? Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get Lene on a rerun at this point. Doesn't seem like it's happening. Oh, man. 50-50 loss streak has been pretty crazy as of late. I lost like 4 50-50s going for this cart. You know, it isn't that bad, I guess. But that's a lot of lost ones. That means I only won half of my 50-50s. And then before that, I was just on an insane loss streak. Hopefully, you can balance out at some point. Is Kit gonna be out today? Don't know. Lua betas are like unpredictable. The leakers just delay shit. They don't have a consistent schedule for basically anything ever. Every time I lose a 50-50, I lose motivation to play the game. Yeah, I understand that for sure. Like, this is one of the big reasons I don't make content on it because it just doesn't have a PC port, which is so unfortunate. So I can only play it on mobile. But Bleach Soul Resonance, that game has a guaranteed on the limited character and weapon banner, and it feels so good, man. Like, keep in mind, I am having like the worst luck possible on that game technically, because I haven't gone a single early without going to pity, but it still feels so good because it's like, even if I'm going to max pity, I'm still guaranteeing the character every time. There's no chance of a 50-50 fucking me further. I really wish a lot more of these gacha games would just do double guarantees. It would be so nice, man. So nice. I'd be so much more willing to spend money on the games too to like guarantee copies and stuff. There's probably a cube thing I can do around here. Let's see. A cube. There's a cube. Oh wait, there's one right there too. Why you sound tired? Because it's 7 in the morning. Um, that doesn't work. Well, have you ever been gooned to before? Probably not, man. I'm just a copy. Wrong answer. Okay. Bless you, thank you. Fifty-fifty wouldn't hurt if I had a chance to give you something, which is impossible because everyone is limited. Like CZN does it like that, yeah. It's just like, in the older days, you could argue that, getting Verena was good from the 50-50. Because, like, up to S2 Verena, I'd say it's, like, decently worth it. Because S2 Verena makes her rotation just instant. But when there's only one character on the entirety of the standard banner that you want to get, and even then it's like they aren't exactly a priority in the slightest. Like, the game's just gotten way too old, man. These standard characters just blow. There isn't really any other way of saying it. The standard characters are just so incredibly outdated. They gotta buff the standards. Either buff the standards or add old enough limited 5 stars to the standard pool like HSR did. And I believe some other games have done that as well. Like put at least like Gion in there, and like a few 1.x characters like Cammy and stuff. SK might be asking too much in this case scenario, but like just with the 1.x characters for the most part. Yinlin. I mean, people would still hate losing to Yinlin. Like, Yinlin has as much value as the standard characters currently on banner. It's pretty depressing. But like for example, I'd be happy to lose to a Camellia. And it's like if you lose enough and you're super unlucky, I mean, you'll eventually get copies on them and it's like, "Oh, this ain't that bad, right?" Like these characters still aren't exactly like, new DPS level, but with copies, they for sure can start like stacking it up. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you look at like a Carlotta, right, and then you look at the strongest team currently. The strongest team currently is like 30-40% stronger than a Carlotta, right? And now that we're getting a meth, I mean, I don't. The chances of me of being wrong are very low, but a meth should be the new strongest DPS in the game, right? So now, if I had to guess at minimum, 50% stronger than Lotta. I think it's going to be more than that, but 50% stronger than Lotta. Like, we're entering the territory where older characters are just no longer it, really. Power creep starting to catch up. I always told people this. I don't know why they got off on this delusion, but when I also talked about this game's power creep and HP inflation like half a year back, I had people in my comments using like base HP increases and base damage increases to say that the game's power creep wasn't bad. And when I tried to explain to them that these games scale characters off of percentages and not base numbers, they like didn't want to listen. But like we are now getting to the point where it's obvious. I'd say whenever we get a new DPS that pushes the ceiling, 20 to 25% stronger, and then TOA HP inflation is also by percentage. It's not by just a consistent base increase of like 100k. So these percentages they stack up on top of each other, and then you get a percentage of an older percentage, and then these percentages keep going, and it gets to the point where like let's say 20% HP inflation 2 years later would be the equivalent of 100% HP inflation as compared to 2 years ago if we're looking at base numbers. That's how this entire gacha thing works. It stacks up so fast when they like multiply on top of each other. Hello, Foxhole. Some WUA fans just don't understand power creep and think if old units clear. Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, this argument is stupid, right? Like, I had someone in my comments saying that they don't believe in power creep or HP inflation because they can use a Calcharo with Linné and SK and clear, like, floor 4 and stuff. It's like, what is this argument? Like, no offense, have you guys seen Himiko with Dahlia? She clears all the endgame content, and with just a little more investment, she zero cycles pure fiction with ease, right? That is a 1.x standard character with just Dahlia. But nobody goes, oh, look at this. My standard character is clearing with the newest support. That means power creep and shit doesn't exist in this game. Like, what are you talking about? 6 months ago, the hardest TOA content this game had to offer, right? The hardest endgame content, just overall. Don Jin could solo it. Now, in the current TOA, one of the strongest free to play standard teams in the game of Encore cannot clear 4-4. She just can't. So we went from solo Don Jin to a fully built, one of the strongest standard teams, and that can't clear anymore after half a year. I always told people this too. Wuwa characters scale so badly from HP inflation. They don't get buffed enough from their supports. Their copy investment isn't strong enough. They don't have enough general supports. Like, there's so many issues with making Wuwa characters last if the game decides to go more extreme on its HP inflation. And there's nothing the player can do about it. It kind of sucks. I had an issue with people saying Gion was not power crept by Zanny because you have to compare DPS to DPS, not by team. So when I said, okay, DPS Gion versus Cart, they're like, no, you need to use teams to do that to compare. Yeah, that's how it goes, dude. That's how it goes. Like, there's still people coping, for example. Like, in my recent video, I saw someone in my chat saying some bullshit like, oh, Gion can still be a great pull for Weewa. Buddy, we are not in 1.x. We aren't in early 2.x either. I would never, like, literally, Augusta, who has way less AoE than Gion, most of the time will outperform Gion and Weewa just because she's easier to understand and she's just so much stronger. So she can get through the shit. Like, AoE doesn't mean anything if your damage isn't high enough in this game. That's kind of the issue. It's like just a bunch of random arguments with no substance to them. Nobody wants to just admit, dude, like, oh, this shit's getting bad. Like, you know, their characters are really struggling. Nope, just constantly shift the goalpost. It goes from solo Don Jin to 4-star only clears to standard characters being able to clear. And now when it's no longer standard characters, it's, oh, you only need one limited in a team. You only need two limited in a team. I only need Lene with this older standard character and they can clear. Why are you complaining? It just keeps moving every single time. Every single time. They change the rules when they need to, yeah. And like, this doesn't only apply to this game. Like, people did the same shit to me when I was you know, getting into the HSR space, because I made the same content back then that I do now, of like talking about HP inflation and character strength. And people back then in the honeymoon phase, they were also coping like fucking crazy, right? Like, they were hella coping. But like, I think at this point in the HSR community, I'd say like a good 95% of people just accept the game for what it is, and they don't try to sugarcoat the like bullshit the game does, right? Like, it's one thing to say that your units are power crept after 2 patches and you can no longer clear, right? That's just a straight up lie, and that's what I've spoken out on before. But there's simply no denying that HSR's power creep and HP inflation is like hella rampant. I'm not gonna defend the game in that aspect. It's just the way they decided to sell their characters. Not just HP inflation, mechanics can affect characters too. Latest mobs are so annoying. I bet Ameth can rough stomp them. Well, like, if TOA didn't have these bullshit res debuffs that can be solved from characters having certain gimmicks, older teams would still clear. It's like, it's just this res down debuff if you don't have the newest character. If you do have them, you end up just clearing, right? Like, this is a thing. Like this old, this standard team of Encore I'm talking about for TOA that can no longer clear anymore. If you just add Lene to the team, it can clear. I was literally there watching Julius CH. I watched his recent live stream against the updated TOA because they mistakenly added no res to floor 4. So he did an updated live stream trying to clear it. He could not clear. And then when he put Lene on an Encore team, he could clear. Right? So if you have the newest character, bam, you can clear. But if you don't, I mean, because keep in mind, 15% res is big. I think when people hear 15% res, they think it's nothing. They really do. It is significant for being able to clear. I like brute forcing MOC since Boo Hill released with him only a 10 cost team. Just S6 a character and you good for life unless it's like Yinlin. Oh yeah, for sure. I agree. Like this S6 cart, I'll probably be able to use her for soloing all endgame content for like a long time to come, right? And here's the thing: Wuwa has its advantages to be able to power creep its endgame difficulty increasing, right? They have the sequence shop. Um, well, actually, they kind of just have the sequence shop and that's it, right? Guaranteed weapon banner too. A lot of people talk about that. I I don't know, right? I feel like it's not enough, but like I can't complain when I play some bullshit like HSR that has a 75-25, right? So it is what it is. But like if you consistently play Wuwa, you are smashing the endgame content unless you're a new player. I'm not saying that, nobody can clear, right? It's just that using older characters and older teams with low investment to see what the bare minimum is to clear and seeing it increase this fast is a little worrying, and I don't know why people defend it, right? Like it's the same argument I use in HSR. People are like, oh, this old 4-star only team can no longer zero cycle anymore like it used to back in like 2.x, right? It's like, yeah, but are you not pulling on anything? Like, are you not pulling on anything? Like, let's be honest. Like, 99% of this game's player base is playing decently consistently and probably using their currency on limited characters, right? It's just cool to see and to understand the level of inflation and difficulty increase we're getting in endgame through using weaker teams, right? To see what the bare minimum is. You shouldn't need sequences to clear. Yeah, but you don't need sequences to clear, right? Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying those sequences in the shop are a very, very good way to make your characters last significantly longer in terms of clearing the endgame content. You don't need the sequences. It's the same argument of like people making HSR, right? Like people will see how broken, let's say an E2 Phanon is, and then be like, oh, that's the bare minimum for being able to clear the endgame content. But like, no, not really. Uh, E0 Phanon still smashes. Gabby, out of HSR, ZZZ, and Wuwa, which game is the most generous when it comes to their premium currency? ZZZ gives the most pulls on average. I literally remember all their bookkeepings. ZZZ gives the most pulls, but Wuwa has guaranteed weapon banner and 10 less hard pity on the character banner. So it ends up evening out and being decently close if you just look at character banner. However, Wuwa wins in the weapon banner aspect. Right. HSR and Wuwa get nearly the same average pulls per patch. They're like incredibly similar. I think Wuwa might be a little more, but they're similar. So in HSR, because they have like ZZZ's same banner system, technically it's obviously weaker than both of these two, but because of HSR's free limited 5 stars, they arguably take the lead, depending on how you account for that, right? So HSR has its own advantage with the free limited 5 stars. ZZZ gives more pulls, but its banner system isn't on the level of Wua's. Wua gives less pulls, but better banner system. Also has sequence shop. Oh, really, Bronte? Haven't really been paying attention to that, not gonna lie. Love people comparing out of the box Evernight performance to an E6 of 1.0 and saying that the current characters are 300% better than old characters, considering that old Eidolons are genuine dog shit. Oh, yeah, 100%. Saint actually did something like this recently, but with ZZZ. He compared Ye Shun Guang and her strength to an M6 Alice, but when you look at Alice's copies and the strength, going from M0 to M6 for Alice makes her like 60% stronger, and that's it. So he's like, oh my god, look at this M0 new unit that power creeps this M6 older unit, right? Because that sounds insane. That sounds genuinely insane. But then you actually like pay more attention to like how bad her copies are, and you're like, oh fuck. Like it's still bad, right? It's not good for a character to be that much stronger, but it's just the Void Hunter shilling. Like there's nothing you can do about it. They shield the Void Hunters like crazy in ZZZ. If you aren't a Void Hunter, you aren't going to be as strong. Just is what it is. Like let's all be honest, HSR is actually the same. Like I'm maybe not on that level, but a like let's say Cassie, if you compare Cassie and her full premium team, right? All E zeros, and then you put maybe like an E6 Herda with her Anoxa Tribi team. Mono Remembrance can be competitive, right? Like they can genuinely be competitive with an E6 Herda. It's just a difference in shilling and being the more important character for the game. No clue, Bronte. No clue. I just saw like a clip because I never actually willingly watched one of his videos. Oh, for sure, Bronte. For sure, absolutely. Anoxa scales so much higher than Herda because of the Cyrene. Can't imagine my fave unit being not the best because not Void Hunter. I mean, the thing is, and I think this is like common for a lot of people, like the majority of these gachas player bases end up liking the Void Hunter characters the most, right? Like because they get the most shilling and usually the most shield design as well, like just naturally, most people get rewarded for that. Like I've had this same thing with HSR. It's like every single HSR Annie unit, including upcoming Yai Sakura, are all top contenders for my favorite characters in the entire game. Acheron, Cassie, before I even knew she was an Annie unit, the second I saw a dragon in the Amphoria strip market, I made an account for her. And Yai, I've been waiting on for so long at this point. Like they make sure to make the most wanted characters the most sold, which is nice for me. It's miserable being part of those communities. Dude, like it's just so annoying. Like I'm glad at least a good amount of my comment section in my last video were trying to be good sports. But then I just saw like it's still like 50% tribalism and people caring more about like pitting Wua versus HSR, which one's better, right? When I explained in the video the different way they sell characters and shit. Like, dude, I'm so sick of it, man. This entire like way, this type of content, like I can't believe it's this popular. Like I can't understand it. How do people eat it up? It's insane to me. Like, how does someone become one of the biggest CCs in the entirety of the game space from just lying and doing straight agenda, hate brigading other games, and like lying about their favorite? I don't get it, man. How is it so effective? Like, if this wouldn't fly in any other game outside of this space, or like maybe it would temporarily, but not for this long. Oh yeah, I forgot about that too, Bronte. Most people who watch that stuff don't play the games. Well, yeah, I know, but it's like, then why are they watching it? Why are they even giving opinions on it? You know what I'm saying? Like I know this firsthand. Most of the time when I've talked about this stuff in HSR on my like Wua content, like people don't even know what's going on in HSR. They don't know the real power level of characters. They also think HSR is like absolutely brain dead, which just isn't the case. Like every single time I make a video where I talk about Wua and HSR, there's always people in the comments saying that Wua has a skill ceiling and HSR doesn't. And it's like, oh, my sweet summer child. If only you knew, man. Like, there are people out here who cannot zero cycle MOC for their lives, even with average relics and like 8 cost in a team. And then you'll have another YouTuber doing like a 1 or 2 cost zero cycle with just slightly better relics because they know what they're doing. Like people genuinely think HSR has zero skill ceiling. Actually, it's more of a knowledge ceiling, if anything. So maybe they are right. Because you need to be more knowledgeable in HSR than like anything mechanics like Wua is. Wua, it's mechanics, it's just understanding a rotation. They also bring up that HSR gave out Archer for free and then say that he does not work at all without Sparkle. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Especially since on my free to play Anoxa account, I've been using my Archer with Sunday for quite a while now. Like those have been my main two teams for clearing endgame. It's been my Anoxa and my Archer. I'm gonna pull Sparkle soon though, especially after these buffs. Before the buffs, I wasn't really considering it, but after the buffs, might as well. Got the guy for free, so. Why are you always playing Wua but not HSR? Because I actually have something to grind for in HSR, or sorry, Wua, with this account. And on HSR, I just play everything on mobile. because it's more convenient. I can't play Woo on mobile because that shit takes up like 50 plus gigs. It can't run because I use a very cheap phone because I don't use a phone for anything else but my phone number and calling. So it cannot run Woo on the phone, and then my iPad caps out at 128 gigs. So I just don't have space for Woo. I also heard there's gonna be another map expansion in the next patch too. So it's gonna go up like probably another 2 gigs as well. It just keeps going up infinitely. I need like a 256 gig device to actually download Wuon. On PC, yeah, it's like 118 gigabytes last I checked. On mobile, it's like less than half of that though. Mm, I wonder why ZZZ gets glazed so blindly. I've noticed that ZZZ is very much an acquired taste, but to people who do have the taste for it, it's probably easily the best gacha on the market. Like it's decently unique, I'd say. ZZZ prioritizes like uniqueness, artistic choices, fluidity a lot more as compared to a lot of other games. They can be a little more streamlined, even if they have their own unique elements to a certain degree. Chisa will work with AMF. It's just a matter of whether or not she'll be best in slot or not, because that's what a lot of people want. They want Chisa to actually be best in slot for something, so they can feel like they didn't waste their pulls. Like I literally, no joke, I scroll Reddit sometimes for like a little bit every single day, and yesterday I saw a post on like the Wuthering Waves Guide subreddit of someone like genuinely pissed and asking like, "Yo, is Chisa gonna be good for Ameth?" And there's like something below the main title and post was that they listened to Woowa CC's calling her a must pull and like a 3.x must pull, and that they regret it. uh, How is Chisa a bus must pull? Well, this is what I talk about. This is why I made a video a while back, like literally just ranting, first world problems and shit. But like, this Wua CC space is filled with people who literally call every newest character a must pull and they don't catch on to the pattern. It's like, either you legit don't realize this and it's like, okay, like you might be a little slow, or you do realize it, you just don't want to admit it. Like, not every new character can be a must pull, man. Like, we just need to stop this shit. Like, let's be honest. If we were to do revisionism right now, would you guys consider QU1 a must pull? Would you guys consider a must pull? Would you guys consider, like, any of the 2.x DPS as a must pull anymore? Like, no one's a must pull. That shit doesn't even exist, man. Because of power creep and shit. There can never be a must pull. The closest you can get is SK. That's the closest. But even then, someone can easily get by with clearing this game's endgame content without having an SK. The only endgame content that might incentivize that is like double pawns matrix. That's it. Because of the insane amount of teams you can use. Oh yeah, for sure, Bronte. I've been slowly leveling up Yohu Buling. This logic makes every unit not a must pull though. Yeah, I know. That's my entire thing. No one's a must pull. And the only characters who are worthy of like having that title are the ones closest to it, like I was talking about with like SK. It's understandable if someone calls a character like SK or even someone like Mornai like the closest to a must pull and incredibly high value, right? So I wouldn't get mad if someone called them a must pull. But like this Wuwa space just calls every character a must pull. Even if they're very clearly not going to age well, because cough cough they rely on damage and nothing else, which is the most power creeple thing in this game. They're like, oh, this character is a must pull, right? This character, oh, she's gonna change everything. It's like, no, not really, man, not really. It also obviously depends on someone's account, right? Like, is Chacona like a near must pull on someone's account without Cartethia? Hell no. But if you own Cartethia and don't have Chacona, that's something I'd seriously consider actually pulling on. Because Chacona is like 40% better, if I remember correctly, than San Hua. Like, to put it in perspective, Cartethia goes from doing like Jin Shi levels of damage with a San Hua to doing like Augusta levels of damage with a Chacona. It's a pretty big glow up, man. It's a pretty big glow up. Now with Chisa Arrow Rover, Chacona can be replaced too. Not saying it's great, but it's a big step up from San Hua. Oh really? Well, that's nice. Chacona also still has like the strongest sub DPS weapon for her team in the game. There still isn't another sub DPS that like competes with her weapon. I think I'll pull Yuno for my Gian Chacona team still. Yeah, that's fine. Have fun. If you want to make sure an older character you like lasts as long as possible, then hey, all the power, man. All the power. Yeah, Bronte. I thought they'd make it like more of a norm to give characters like sub DPS that strong of a weapon though. They just didn't. Cyberpunk collab should be 3.4, I think. Because 3.3 should be Annie. So 3.4, and then we go back to Meng Zhou in 3.5. Mm, I don't think David is going to be part of the collab. I think it's just going to be Lucy and Rebecca. Hopefully, we'll finally get a free unit this year in Wuwa, though. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be like insanely disappointed if there isn't on either the anniversary or the collab. There's no way their second year Annie doesn't have a free 5 star. I refuse to believe it. Like Archer, yeah. Nah, you don't need that much sequence investment in an older unit to make them keep up in this game. It goes back to the video I made yesterday of the power versus inflation thing. Wuwa has, although they have power creep and HP inflation, it's much slower, right? So let's say you got a, I don't know, like S2 or S3 Jinshi that would be as strong if not stronger than a majority of 2.x DPSs. And I think the same applies to like Cammy. Gion, I think Gion has terrible early sequences if I remember correctly. Maybe not Gion, but like those specific ones, yeah. You can just get like S2, S3. And I imagine for some of the better 2.x WUA characters, it'll be the same thing, right? Like an S2, S3 Cart, S2, S3 Zanny, S2, S3 Prolova, like these characters at those investment levels will probably be as strong, if not stronger, than a lot of these 3.x DPSs at base, right? Of course, these newer DPSs also have stronger investment. So, like, the best case scenario is that you use your sequences on a newer character, but nothing you can do about it. Yeah, I literally remember going on Pride when Bronte to see the percentage, and I just remember all of Gion's sequences being trash and then, like, a sudden spike at S6. And this was like a common thing among the early 1.x DPSs too. They basically put all the budget into S6 and almost nothing else. S2 Gion is my biggest mistake and enormous 10% damage. Is that low? Jesus. Oh my god. Well, actually, I think Camellia's sequences are weird because I don't remember if it's at like S2 or S3, but she gets a new rotation that is significantly longer. So Pride Wind's like percentage damage increase is kind of like misleading because the later sequence Camellia is taking up way more field time, I believe. But still, it's decently strong, I think. Oh, that's at S6? Oh, thought it was earlier. You just don't outro and it's fine? Hmm. I mean, then again, Wuwa could prove me wrong, right? Like, they could just release Ameth and make her do like near 3 milli damage, because the beta should be soon, or at least the kit should be out soon, because preload came out today. So, like, hey, if Wuwa wants to go down that route, they could. I just don't see it happening. They don't have the track record of ever making a new DPS like nearly 50% stronger. It's never happened before. I think Amy will be 2.5. I think 2.5 to 2.6. Yeah. That was always my estimate. Like that's I'm pretty sure slightly above basically the sweatiest you can get with Zanny and Cart or like on the same level but at base for like a more achievable rotation. Why would they ever? They're not gonna make Luke free. It's not gonna happen. The only time they'll ever make 5 stars free is probably like on special occasions. That's why I said I hope they give one for either Cyberpunk collab or anniversary. Because if they don't give it then, they're never gonna give it ever. Very unlikely. What caused the food poisoning? I think Popeyes. Yeah, Bronte for sure. They only released Zhang Liao because, like, dude, that patch was dead. Like the game was really dead. People were I keep in mind I took a break from the game, and on my old Wua account, I had Wua downloaded. I could do the event for Zhang Liao. I didn't, and I missed out on him on that old main account because like I found Wua that boring at the time, and I had played Wua nonstop from like 1.0 through to 1.1 like nonstop. Even a free limited 5 star wasn't enough to get me on the game. uh, Game got revived with Renacito, 100%. Do you expect there to be a good free-to-play sub DPS option for Ameth? No. I can't really think of one. What's the next best reslib buffer in this game? Isn't it Yin Lin? Yeah, hell no, dude. Yeah, that's chopped. Cheng Li can work with Lupa. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think Cheng Li is going to be much, much less viable as this game goes on, with characters becoming stronger. And like, people can kind of need to pick up on this. Cheng Li quick swap is as good as it is because like newer characters at the time just weren't that much above Chang Li's damage level. But like at some point, when we are far enough in the game and characters are so much stronger than Chang Li, it might genuinely be a DPS loss switching to her. Like we are probably gonna get to that point in some part of 3.x where like it just doesn't matter, dude. It all depends on, of course, how strong Ameth is herself, right? They could maybe go like the cart route, or like cart herself. Well, actually, using Sanhua, she's on the level of like premium Jinchi, so she is like stronger than the older characters. But whatever. This analogy went to shit because she's actually strong, but she's more reliant on her sub DPS. You know what I'm saying? She's more reliant on it for her peak performance. Yeah, like if you've ever looked at like mono fusion calcs and shit, like Brant does the same damage as Jangly. Like this has kind of been a thing for a long time that people don't recognize. In a lot of cases, Brant just does more damage than Changli. I'm pretty sure before Lene came out, Carlotta's strongest quick swat team was with Brant too. Like it has a high ceiling, I guess. Like if you got it down, Brant was the best in slot swap partner, not Changli. Monofusion is buns? No, monofusion isn't buns. It's like, I mean, if you learn quick swap, it's one of the strongest teams in the game. For an average player, uh, monofusion, it probably wouldn't be on par with a lot of these easier 1, 2, 3 characters and like DPS teams. I mean, I don't know. They're like normal 2.x DPS level. I'd say like mid 2.x DPS level team. If you don't do swaps, that's kind of like where monofusion is. They're good but not great, but they shine so much better with swap. Yeah, Bronte. This game needs to make better sequences and weapons for their supports. I wish this game had like an E1 Tribby or an E1 Robin. Man, that would be so nice. I'd even take it if it was on S2, by the way. Because you can say, like, oh, they give you the sequence shop or whatever. Like, fine, put it in S2. But, like, no support has it in S2 either. Where, like, a team just does 25 to 30% more damage. Even Tribby flashbacks. uh, can't because of free S2? Well, I'm not going to S3, okay? Fuck that shit. Well, actually, most WUA people would still call it a must pull, anyways, even if it was on S3. Like, it doesn't even matter where they put it. Like if they put a sequence that valuable on literally any character in this game, it would instantly be deemed a must pull sequence, whether you can afford it or not. Like all the supports, sequences, and weapons in this game are cheeks. They barely increase the team damage. True, Bronte, true. Why does it feel like quick swap is the ultimate crutch for this game? It feels like people judge characters only with quick swap in mind. I've personally never experienced that, although there are like a lot of elitists that only talk about quick swap, but it's not like a common thing. But it's like it's the same thing that HSR players do with zero cycles. Like in WUA, you have people bringing up quick swap, and then in HSR, you have people bringing up optimal zero cycle runs. Pick your poison. What's your consensus on 3.0 now that it's out for a bit? WUA still feels like WUA, if that makes sense. I gave this opinion a while back, but because Rinasita was such an insane glow up from a game that was kind of like not doing the greatest in late, early and even late version 1, the jump to Rinasita felt incredible. It felt like an insane improvement. But when it comes to Lahai Roy, it doesn't feel the same in terms of like a jump in improvement. So I'm kind of neutral on 3.0. I think it's a solid update, but I don't think it's anything exceptional. Like I've seen a lot of people say that this update is better in like compared to Renacida, and it's like really, like, did you even play 1.x and then see the jump to 2.0? It was so big, man. Yeah, I really like the bike. I really do. It's just that I've been spoiled from flight, and there's like nothing I can do about it. Like I will say the bike is more fun, but flight is just so much more convenient. Mm, don't you lose some damage when it's an outro skill buff? What, when you do quick swap stuff? Yeah, but it doesn't matter because like you're optimizing your team's rotation so much, and you're saving so much time from it, and so extra damage adds on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Though there is like an argument to be made that some people have been making recently that they think Kuro is becoming more anti-quick swap. Like this can be a route they go down because they don't like that people are learning how to play characters and prolong their longevity that much. Cough cough like Zanny and other characters. So they made Lene, right? Because technically, when you look at Wuwa, all the negative status DPSs are the best in terms of ceilings for quick swap usually. Because they usually don't lose buffs on outro. But they've done something cheeky with Ameth. Even though Ameth is a negative status DPS like the rest of them, Lene's buffs are not quick swap friendly. So they've like circumvented people being able to take advantage of quick swap on negative status DPSs by making the sub DPS for that DPS lose buff on swap, which is interesting. They keep Plunderer the way it is. I mean, I do feel like the reason they probably aren't bothering with Plunderer is because once Weewa gets enough HP inflation, it's probably just going to become so much less viable at some point. And also, like, let's be honest, probably like 0.01% of the player base actually plays that team. Like, they aren't worried about it because barely anyone knows about it or actually uses it because it requires them to build the brats. Like people will still try to brute force Weewa with the characters they like, and they'll just ignore the fact that that exists. They also need to build around it with like lingering tunes and stuff. I mean, hey Bronte, upcoming Weewa reset, 20+% HP inflation. Is it a sign? That's without a 3.x DPS in the game yet. So there's more to come. There's more to come. Maybe they'll hit us with like an insane HP inflation spike, like they did with like mid 2.x, when people were getting fucking 10k plus points with ease, and then they just got instantly shafted. uh, I miss the days when Weewo was so easy, man. And it's Havoc res, yeah. Make sure to nerf Prolova as much as possible. Hello, Phoenix. Wasn't that more the chop chops being buns? No, Weewa legit got like 100% plus HP inflation on one of its resets in mid 2.x. Like the chop chops obviously also played a factor, but there was like that massive spike. Chop chop, oh no. Just wait till they add the 3.x enemies in there that have ADHD and can't stop moving. Electro res, yup. Nerf Plunderer. GG's, it's over. Recently quit Woo. Burnout is real. It's fine to get burnt out of these gacha games. I think most people should like have no problems with getting burnt out. If you can like distinguish between burnout and like fucking hating the guts of a game, yeah, it's fine to just take a break, take your time. It's one of the biggest reasons why I take my time with Where Winds Meet. It's like I'll take my time, and then when I feel like playing it, I'll just dump so much time on it. Is HSR the easiest gacha to manage a second account on between the ones you play? Yes. I I, I think ZZZ is also decently close. But the thing with ZZZ is they put way more events. So it can be like more annoying playing multiple accounts and going through the same events over and over again. But on HSR, because it also has like a low amount of events, you can auto everything. It's much easier to just put there on mobile. HSR is easily the easiest among all of them. I also think like, and this is going to happen naturally, making a new account on these gacha games, the older they get, becomes better. And because it's the easiest to like power through quests on HSR as compared to these other games in my opinion, it is the most worthwhile, right? Every single patch that comes out, the amount of pulls you can get from making a new account increases by like 10 probably at least. At this point, now in 4.0, I imagine a new player, if they just bursted through everything, would be able to like get two full premium teams. Like they have a solid chance at that. Not guaranteed, but they have a solid chance. Like at this point, you can probably get near 500 pulls, if not 500. I S6 Saber after like 3 patches of playing on a new account. Yeah, there you go. Do you think Yao Guang is a skip? What's the chance she's in the battleship? I think it's decently high. Yao Guang is like just a generalist, but it's not a Sunday situation, right? Because for Sunday, although many of us, including me, thought he'd be part of the future meta, one, he wasn't in the new version, and two, he wasn't part of the new path. But Yao Guang is like a real generalist support, but also targeted towards her niche of elation while being elation, and like she's fully targeted for it, right? So I think Yao Guang isn't a Sunday situation, and she will just be like this third support you use on the team for basically every elation team. Basically, what HSR did is they saw like the value of Tribby and the chokehold it had on people, so they made a Tribby for the path they want to shill, which is decently smart for their sales. Yao Guang is not general. Yao Guang is so strong that she can work in an archer team and be competitive with his other third slots. And this doesn't only apply to archer either. She'll likely be replaced by a new elation support by 4.7. I mean, that's legit almost a year later. So even if that is the case, still some solid ass longevity. Sireneless Anoxa buff. I'm not sure how much merit to put into it because there's no calcs or video for it. But I remember when I was scrolling through HOS's video of like the Sparkle buff, he said that Sparkle, now reworked, is a very solid substitute for Anoxa. Now I don't know if that means against Cyrene or if against Ceridra, because depending on who it is, it can be a lot more impressive than the other, right? Oh, really, Bronte? I actually didn't know that. Wow, 32% defense shred on her E2? Wait, that's... Dude, that's so strong. That's nearly on the level of Sunday's E1 Whis summons. Because Sunday's E1 Whis summons caps out at 40%. Man, they really hoed Sunday's E1. It makes me so mad, man. Why is your cart level 80? Because I'm only UL 56. Should I pull an E2 Cyrene since I have 3 Amphorius DPSs? I mean, I guess. If you really want to. I would never pull E2 Cyrene. But if you really want to, sure. Will leakers are edging AMS kit. Beta's out. Are you sure beta's out? I heard preload was out. But I'm pretty sure, like, after preload, they need to set up the private servers and stuff to make it as accurate as possible. And they need to configure it. Sorry, it's only preload? Yeah. How can you max out sequences before maxing out level? New account. How long have you had that account? Not long. 2 months, I think. Let me see. November 12th. Getting max level is cooked? Yeah. Getting to UL 60 doesn't take too long. It takes like about a patch, I think. If you consistently play like every day or something. Maybe a little longer. Yeah. This account is only going for Sentinel Resonators. So I'm pulling Ameth, and then after this I'm pulling the Senres in 3.6. You gonna pull Jinshi? We're good. We're good, Bronte. I'm good. By the time... Actually, no. Actually, yeah. By the time we're in 3.6 and we get the next Senres after Ameth, even an S6 Jinshi wouldn't be able to, to compete with probably an S0 her. Because if I remember correctly, Jinshi Premium currently is like... What is it, like 1.4 million damage per rotate? Like, that shit is low, dude. It is so low. And if Ameth ends up being like 2.5 or 2.6, I know the next Senres is hitting like 3 mil. I'm good, man. Yeah. Would you like it if HSR's Lycone banner was like what it was? Fuck yeah. What type of question is that? Obviously. I've been begging for HSR to like update its Lycone banner at this point for so long. My next best hope is that they do it for the third Annie because the game's gonna be fucking 3 years old and they still will have improved absolutely nothing when it comes to like banner rates at all. So that's just my best hope is that they add it in the upcoming Annie. But if they don't, then like I don't know, man. It might take until like half a decade into the game for them to make it guaranteed. I am confident they'll do it at some point. I am confident for sure that they'll update the banners to make them better. But I just don't want them to take too long, man. Oh yeah, Genshin weapon banner is in its own level for sure. Should I do to gacha characters? Why are you asking me? I don't know. Me personally, yeah. PGR weapon banner is like 30 pulls with 80%. Yeah, I know. I've heard the PGR glaze. I've heard it so many times at this point when it comes to its banner system. Why are you saying our next Senres is in 3.6? Step Leaks his roadmap. Step Leaks his roadmap that he released in like the second half of 2.x for 3.x has been accurate in some type of way for every single character released so far. And he put 3.1 Fusion Senres, which is obviously a meth. And keep in mind, this shit came out a while ago. Okay? But there was another Senres in 3.6, one patch after the introduction of Mengzhou, after the Cyberpunk collab. So, given the fact that something has been credible for every single character released so far, there's pretty good merit to believe that that would be the case. So we will get 2 Sentinel Resonator characters in this version. Though the other one will be like a real Sentinel Resonator, right? Like people are arguing semantics about Ameth. So the other one will probably be like a pure Senres. Isn't Linnea's best teammate Yuno for this patch? For only this patch. Don't worry, Ameth's coming. Yo, again? I just killed these guys earlier. Mm. Ameth also needs Chisa. I wouldn't go that far. I really think Mornai can easily be competitive with Chisa. It just depends on how negative status reliant they make Ameth. But if they want Mornai to also sell, they'll just make them comparable. Because in teams where you have Linne, which obviously is Ameth's best in slot, Mornai gives 40% more damage bonus, which makes her buffing stronger than SK. But also, Ameth is the first DPS in the game to be able to respond to Toon Strain and Toon Rupture. So she can do more damage with this Toon Break shit. And Mornai gives a 50% off Toon build-up increase. So they both have their own value. One specializes in increasing the negative status damage. The other one is just a way stronger buffer and synergizes with the Toon Break stuff. I think they'll be pretty comparable though. Best case scenario. Ameth is a neg status character? Yeah, Fusion Burst. What are the odds Luke will be free? 0%. How is Chisa good with Ameth? The stack increase to negative statuses makes them significantly stronger because they scale exponentially. So when it comes to the fusion burst damage, it literally doubles from Chisa's 3 max stack increase. Keep believing Luke will be free. uh, What is Fusion Burst Cap? Don't even know. No, no. Don't make Luke free. I want him to be good. I mean, Zhang Liao ain't bad. You know, is it time to pull out the buzzword quick swap again? You know what I'm saying? Quick swap Zhang Liao. Quick swap Zhang Liao Cheng Li. The meta of early version 1. Come on, guys. Quick swap mentioned. What is your thoughts on the character buffs in HSR? Sparkles are insane. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's just crazy. Because it's like, not only is her base kit, she's now easily the strongest hyper carry buffer, right? It's not even close. Even if the action advance isn't as good. Like, her buff now lasts 2 turns, so you can basic without issues. Her SP positivity is just absolutely through the roof, so you have no downtime. And then her buffing is just absolute insanity. But, like, as well, that buff to her E2 is like, in HSR, where it's much more normalized to go for very strong Eidolons on supports, that E2 is insane, dude. Like 32% defense shred. You pair that Sparkle with an Anoxa that's at like 70% defense. Oh my god. Anoxa's damage would just skyrocket. I, because you need to keep in mind, on Anoxa's team, Sparkle literally only gives his most wanted buffs. Like, it's absolutely perfect synergy. She gives Res Pen, she gives vulnerability, and then her Eidolons will give defense shred, and then her Trace will give attack percent. Like, these are literally all buffs the guy absolutely fucking eats up. It's insanely synergistic. And you would be able to use skill on Anoxa every time with Sparkle too, with this new QOL. Like, there would never be any downtime at all. You would get less turns as compared to Cyrene though, and Cyrene's niche ass buffing for Anoxa would probably still be better. Like, I don't think there's anything you can do about that, but it's still just insane, man. Yeah, it's still not as good as Siri plus Irene combo. Well, yeah, I agree. Unless you maybe have her E2. That's the only case scenario. Because it's like, Cyrene doesn't only buff Anoxa when you have Saridra on the team, right? Because when she also buffs Saridra, Saridra gets a free extra stack of her peerage every single time Anoxa uses a double skill, which means more frequent double skills as compared to not having Cyrene. So, Cyrene has that advantage with like just perfect synergy with the Chrysos heirs. But if you aren't a Chrysos heir, I mean, this is kind of where it comes in, right? If you only look at the 3.x meta and like Cyrene's niche ass buffs, it's hard to compete. But if you don't look at these Chrysos heirs, it's like Cyrene that gets shit on. It's Saridra that gets shit on. It's like a bunch of all these older characters that get shit on. Cyrene without 3.x characters, yeah. Like, what I thought would happen is now looking very much likely that it's actually going to happen. Cyrene is not going to age well in this new version, and neither is Ceridra. The Ceridra cope for Elation was actually insane. I can't believe people actually held on to that. Yeah, you're eating it up, Bronte. You're eating it up. Thoughts on how long a Noxus Irene Ceridra would last meta wise? Um, Meta wise? Well, when you say meta wise, not that long. Like, HSR's meta just moves too fast. But if you're talking about just clearing endgame content, probably like a couple years. Nox has been meta since his release. Well, yeah, but now it's a new version, so no more teammate chilling. Bye bye Chrysos Airs. Hello Elation. Hello Yai Sakura. Annie unit, who will now do 35 to 40 million damage in a zero cycle. Goodbye Anoxa. Years, let's slow down. You guys need to understand, Anoxa is easily lasting that long. Like fucking Jing Yuan. I saw an E0 as 0 Jing Yuan. 2.x supports of Sunday and Robin, clearing in like 4 cycles against like a 3.5 MOC. Like there's no way Anoxa with his Eidolons, his teammate chilling, isn't at least lasting a little shorter than that. Or like the same. Like I refuse to believe it, dude. They'd have to do some fuck shit with the end game to achieve that. Maybe in pure fiction. Okay. Is that the meta, guys? What made you E6 him compared to Phanon? What, Anoxa? I just liked him. And I already had an E2 Phanon account that I decided to end up getting. So, I just liked the dude. So it was like, why not? He just has one of my favorite gameplays because he just spams his skill over and over and it's satisfying. Didn't know there was motorcycle in Wuwa? Yup. It's new. Came out a bit ago. New region. Did you pull for Yin? I'm trying to right now. After I pull Geen, I'm gonna just start saving for characters with their copies. I'll also get Grim, and then when Grim reruns, I'll go for his copies. The reason I just want to get Geen quickly is so I can easily max out Frenzy Feast. Because with only two teams, it can be a little more annoying to hit the 70k. Actually, I don't know. I've been looking forward to Grimjow a lot. This is third. This is the third time you got an E6 win character. Oh shit, you're right. Damn. Kyuan, Cartethia, and as well as Anoxa. Might be onto something. Those are also my only E6 characters ever, by the way. Like, it's not even just specific to that element, just ever. I've never had E6s of anything else. Who's your favorite Bleach character? Um, Bleach is one of the few cases where my favorite character isn't the MC. This is usually the case for literally everything or almost everything I watch, but Bleach isn't. My favorite character from Bleach is probably Rukia. So far, at least. Yoruichi is also up there. Yeah, I'm having a good day. I mean, here's the thing, guys, right? With this entire Sunday versus Sparkle thing, and I feel like this is very likely to happen. Sunday will probably get buffed too at some point. Because Sunday is genuinely lore relevant as hell in HSR now. So, with these Sparkle buffs, Sparkle will obviously be in the limelight, but I could 100% see Sunday getting buffed in like 4.x. Like, I see it being a real thing. Are they saying Sunday bad? Well, it's not that Sunday's bad. It's just that he doesn't have any teams he really specializes in anymore. The only teams where you can really say Sunday is still like decently worth using in is probably Feynon's. Every other team in the game, he's now been like just no. Well, for older DPSs maybe, for some older DPSs, but even then, like with these Sparkle buffs, she probably overtakes him and with a lot of older DPSs. They just over buffed the fuck out of Sparkle. Like it's kind of insane. They over buffed the absolute shit out of her to make her work with Sparksy. Do you think she'll survive beta? Current Sparkle? If they are trying to make Sparkle a mainstay in Sparksy's team, then yes. But if they suddenly change their mind, or they could also just put more into Sparksy's kit while putting less into Sparkle's kit. That like something like that could happen. Because genuinely, that Sparkle buff is just insanity, man. Like no offense, but like way better ER gen. Buffing is on an entirely different level. Generates 6 skill points on a fucking ult. Like oh my god. Like I'm seeing E0 archers be able to use 4 to 5 arrows almost every single turn. Like are we serious? Yeah, like it's kind of insane. Like even if Sparksy herself isn't power creep, and that's like kind of confusing to everybody, of why is a new version DPS with one of their best in slots not power creeping because it's like unheard of. Like Sparkle, Sparkle's the one power creeping. It's not even Sparksy, it's Sparkle herself. Yeah, E1 Tribby is always going to be incredibly strong. Like E1 Tribby, like the true damage works for elation damage too, which is kind of crazy. So a lot of people who don't want to pull Yao Guang are thinking of just using Tribby for the elation team temporarily. Because normal damage bonus doesn't work, but true damage, that does, that does. It also works on Super Break. Yeah, before Dahlia came out, one of the best like low cost zero cycle teams for like clearing endgame content was using E1 Tribby. Like that was a real thing because it was just that strong. I thought people would be happy that a DPS wouldn't be power creeping, but I guess not. Well, it depends, right? If you only look at it for what it is at face value, it's a good thing. But with HSR's track record, it's a bad thing. Because instead of, oh, we're going to be slowing down power creep, it usually 99% of the time means this character is going to get shafted and we are going to make the Annie character the real main push who power creeps everybody. Now, if they made Yai around the same level as Sparksy, no one would complain. They'd be like, oh, what is this? You know, are they really slowing it down? But we already know the anniversary character is going to be the strongest, okay? So that's probably why people are thinking the way they are. You can't expect an anniversary character to not be great, though. Well, there's a difference between being great and being so strong that you power creep the fuck out of every other team in the same version as you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of the issue. Like, for example, a mono remembrance team as compared to Aglaya's best in slot team. A mono remembrance team will easily last like at least maybe like 1.5x as long as a Naglea team in terms of clearing endgame content, because it just does way more fucking damage. It's not even close. On top of this, Remembrance team also has way stronger investment than like most of the early 3.x DPSs. So like they have investment not only in their DPS but in their support, not only in their support but in their sustain, not only in their sustain but also their sub DPS. It's just all absolutely busted Eidolons. Can't say the same for Aggie. Let me see. Are there any updates? 3.1 new weekly boss. Man, this isn't anything new. Who gives a shit? And it's still just a beta preload. Oh, my bad. Oh. Just feel like there's no winning? I mean, you win by not making the anniversary character power creep everybody else by such a large margin. That's really just how it works. Like, they have only had one anniversary, but technically Wu has already done this. Like, Cart isn't on the anniversary. And Zanny, even if she has that high ass ceiling, 99% of people aren't going to care about it. So, Zanny isn't really like significant power creep to a lot of people. But yeah, either way, I'm pulling Yai. Doesn't even have anything to do with her being the Annie unit. Yai is literally like a Cassie situation for me all over again, where I was hyped for the character way before they were ever confirmed to be an Annie unit, and then they got confirmed to be an Annie unit. It's like the best case scenario. Annie is 4.2. I don't know how you can be excited for her when we don't even know how she looks like. If you look at the silhouette drip, she exactly matches her high 3 version. So, like, there isn't exactly much to hide, in all honesty. There really ain't much to hide. She has the same ears and the same just body structure and everything as her high 3 version. I feel like Sparksy will get her own teammates and there'll be a wheelchair for Yao until she gets her own teammate later on in 4.x. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I have zero clue when it comes to like future crafting, theory crafting elation units and like their future value. Like it's such a like I have no experience with the way they're doing this shit. It's so confusing. They're releasing more elation characters than they would need for a mono elation team, and they're doing it within the span of 3 patches. There's still like another 5 or 6 4.x patches after said thing. So it's like, how many elation characters are they gonna release? We well, like Yao Guang E1 is just obvious bait. Like it's not like a Trebi E1 situation because like true damage works with everything. So no matter what, you get value out of it. If I remember correctly, like Yao Guang E1 is like mainly buffing elation damage. So most teams in the future obviously wouldn't care if they aren't elation, and that E1 wouldn't be as strong. Fuck. There we go. We. Yeah. All right, lads. I'll be ending the stream. I think this stream was like 2 hours long. That's enough. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Wish you luck on any of your polls for these games.